about 5 or 6 years ago. I believe I was 11. I went over to my friend's house, who lived down the street, to ask him if he wanted to come play outside, since neither of us had a phone. We usually just went over to each other when we felt like playing outside, hoping the other person was home. This time was no exception. I rang the doorbell and waited, but nobody came. However, since it was a warm summer day, I thought that maybe my friend and his family were sitting in their backyard and couldn't hear the bell. Right next to the front door of my friend's house is a window that allows you to see all the way through to the other side of the house, including a backyard window. So I peeked through it to see if they were actually in the backyard. There was no one in the backyard. However, I did see my friend's older sister sitting at the kitchen table behind her laptop, her back turned towards me. Excited, I rang the doorbell again. Yet, still, no one responded. Confused as to why no one came, I stared through the window again to see my friend's older sister still sitting behind her laptop. I tried to draw her attention towards me by calling out and knocking on the window, to no avail. The longer I kept looking at her, the more I started to notice something was off. Not only did she not respond to anything I did, she seemed to not move at all, as in not a single muscle. In fact, the longer I looked, the more certain I became she wasn't even breathing, although that would have been hard to see from that distance while she had her back turned towards me. She was also holding her right arm in a weird position, as if she was in the middle of moving her cursor. From what I could see, nothing on the screen of her laptop was changing either. The longer I kept looking, the more uncomfortable I became. It all just felt so unnatural. At some point, I went to the door, opened the letterbox, and yelled her name through it. I repeated this process a few times, whilst staring through the window in between, when I heard a sudden loud crashing noise come from inside. I immediately moved back to the window again to see what was going on, when I saw that my friend's older sister had now stood up, her back still towards me, the laptop seemingly having disappeared. Needless to say, at this point I'm starting to get creeped out. Yet, I decided to knock on the window and call out her name again. For a very short moment, nothing happened, when all of a sudden, she turned towards me. Her face was not that of my friend's older sister. It was a face I had not come across, and have not since, but it looked furious. Before I could do anything else, she suddenly started running to what appeared to be the front door. I started walking backwards when I heard a loud bang against the other side of the front door, at which I just turned and ran. At first, I believed it was just some dumb prank my friend and his family had played on me. But when I asked him about it the next day at school, he looked at me in confusion. He told me, with a serious look in his eyes, that he and his family, including his sister, hadn't been home for almost the entire afternoon that day, but that when they came home, they did find his older sister's laptop on the floor, and they had assumed it had just been too close to the edge and had eventually fallen off. When I told him what I had seen, he didn't believe me. Quite logically so. I wouldn't have believed something like that either if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Even after all these years, no one who I have told my story to believes me. But I am certain that what I witnessed that day has happened, and I often spend quite some time wondering just what happened. It still scares me to this day, and I can't find anyone who is willing to talk about it seriously. Maybe someone here has an idea about just what went down that day. Hello everyone, SinisterShaf here. I hope you enjoyed Day 10 of ShafTober. Today's story was This Has Been on My Mind Ever Since It Happened by Paranormal. Thank you for letting me narrate your story. If you enjoyed this video, then please remember to like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Also, share this video with your friends. You can now also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at SinisterShaf. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay sinister.